What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Around the ACL. It's Michelle Thompson here with Trey Ryder and Anthony Ione, and we are coming off a cornhole-packed weekend. Lots of exciting things to talk about, exciting winners. We're going to have Wally on later, so excited to bring him on. So good
Hey,
show
Nan.
coming up. How was your guys' weekend? Did you get to sit there and watch some cornhole?
Yep, I watched cornhole pretty much all weekend. It was nice. It was kind of like I got to be a viewer. I had a beautiful setup. So I had my TV on with my college football and my NFL football, and then I had my laptop that had cornhole TV on it. And then my phone, I was keeping up on Twitter. I was looking at, live feed, stuff like that. So I didn't get off the couch much this weekend. It was nice.
Anthony, how about you?
I had a pretty unique setting for all of my cornhole watching this weekend. So I was sitting in tree stands all weekend watching the Open. It was actually pretty cool. I had a decent feed. So, I'm spending hours and hours every day sitting in tree stands with my bow. And I got the matches here in the background. Sometimes I'd get a little too into the games and I'm like, oh crap, I should probably look around, see if there's some deer around here, every once in a while. But
I didn't know you hunted.
I would not have guessed that you hunt. 100%.
In a million years, I would not have pegged Anthony Ione to be a hunter.
Yeah, big time. Living in Colorado, I mean, it's like you can't get much better than that. But yeah, big into elk and deer, antelope. Those are the three main ones. Bow, rifle. It's the backyard here. Denver, the Rocky Mountains in your backyard, you just got to take advantage of it. It's awesome.
That is blowing my mind a little bit.
Is it?
Yeah.
I feel like that should be a trivia question and people would get it wrong if you didn't just say it.
Elk hunting is difficult too.
Yeah.
Difficult. It's especially, oh man, because you're literally hunting. Like, I guess it's different than a tree stand type of thing, but like I knew a guy at my old job that literally he would make a yearly trip to Colorado to hunt elk, and he was telling me they have to hike miles and mountains. And
definitely,
it's crazy.
Yeah, this was different for me. I actually left Colorado. I went to Missouri for my first time tree stand hunting because, like you were saying, we're always just hustling, hiking, getting deep into the woods, getting buried in there for days at a time. But first time in Missouri, first time hunting outside of Colorado, and first time in a tree stand. So it was fun. It was different. I definitely found myself going, all right, what's over there? Because I'm tired of sitting here, but you got to really trust in the process and the timing. And it was fun. I enjoyed it.
This is odd, Michelle. I did not.
I'm going to surprise you all right now. I have never hunted, never will hunt. In fact, I can't even stand the pictures on Facebook when people post them. I know that surprises everybody.
This does not surprise me.
Oh, it's awesome.
Well, there you go, everyone. There's your trivia question about Anthony. Let's go into the Open number 3 here. I loved watching Sam Finley come to the top. Was she just right there every single time? Such a well-deserved win. She made it far in the other days as well. So congrats to Sam on a big weekend. But what do you guys have to say about women's singles, Trey?
Yeah, Sam Finley. Whew, she was a flamethrower this weekend, especially in women's singles. Finished the entire tournament above a 10 PPR, solidly above a 10 PPR. Had some games flirting with an 11 PPR. Yeah. She was slinging bags in the hole. I mean, this might have been a weekend in which if Cheyenne Renner was there, Cheyenne Renner might not have won. I mean, Sam Finley played like the 2020 world champion, like the 2019 world champion Sam Finley that we have seen. She was really playing at a high level, and that's we missed that in 2022. We got a solid Sam Finley. We got a fine Sam Finley, but what we saw recently out of Sam has been something different, and I think she's added this second level of motivation or determination or whatever word you want to use. She's really turned something on recently. We saw it a little bit at the end of that Pro Shootout Championship, where obviously she made it all the way to the finals, but even since then been throwing really well. But I'm excited to see if Finley can continue this through the Pro Series.
And she was throwing those samurais really, really well. I feel like that's a really good bag for her. I believe it was the samurais.
Yeah, she was throwing samurais. Yes.
Yeah. I think that was a good bag in her hand. What do you think, Anthony?
Yeah, just real quick, like a big picture thought going in. I think this is kind of something worth talking about. I'm going to throw a comment out there. High PPRs, and I'll go through kind of backing up. High PPRs are simply not winning brackets. And we saw it in every single bracket in singles. Alec Ryan, 6th in PPR, wins his bracket. Tony Smith, 6th in PPR, wins bracket B. Blake Karnick, 6th in PPR, wins his bracket. And then Ryden Weenfield, 7th in his bracket, wins it. And then ultimately wins the entire tournament, 19th overall in ranked PPR. So, I mean, check this out. Some standout PPRs that did not get the results in the bracket finals that we would think if we were just looking at raw numbers. Isidro Herrera, a bracket leading 10.31 over 67 rounds, takes 25th place. You tell me you come in and throw a 10-3-1 over that many rounds and you take 25th? I wouldn't believe you. Bob Vaunch, he bumped that to 100 rounds. He went 100 rounds of a 10-1-5, takes 13th. And then this one's a little bit nuts for me. Matt Guy with a tournament leading 10.75 over almost just shy of 100 rounds. He takes 7th in his bracket. It's absolutely crazy to me. If we rewound 2 years ago, Trey, and you threw a 10.75 in a tournament, you are blowing everybody out of that tournament and you're winning it hands down. It's just not the case right now. And if you look deep into the matches and deep into the game and deep into how the players are evolving, we're seeing it and feeling it. The game it's requiring more skilled play. This kind of blew my mind, kind of looking at everybody playing this weekend. Mark Richards, he's out there cutting and rolling bags selectively and in moderation, of course. Brett Guy, Jordan Power, cutting and rolling bags. These are players that have not shown that type of skilled play in the past, but I think it's showing that players are realizing they don't need a roll bag as their go-to, but there could be one time in a match, 2 times in a match where they need to go to a skilled shot just to squeeze an extra 2 points out, and we're seeing it actually play out. I don't know, Mish, here's how I think about it. Players are going to need to develop more than a slide shot and an airmail to take home championships in the near future to win tournaments, in my opinion. What are your thoughts on that?
Which I'm here for. Which I am here
no doubt.
for. That makes me very happy to know, and I hope everybody heard that. And let's bring it, because that is exciting cornhole to watch.
No doubt.
Yeah, I mean, the 10.75 by, or 10.79, whatever it was, by Matt Guy is kind of mind blowing. I mean, the key I like to look at when you see those high PPRs is were there losses valleys? Like, what was it? They were boom, 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 had one bad game, had someone come out and win, or were they pretty consistent and someone else ceilinged? Right? Obviously, because nobody was better than Matt Guy at putting bags in the hole this weekend, right? By definition, nobody was better. That doesn't mean he won everything, but nobody was better at scoring points. And so, I like to look at those trends of how situational somebody was taking him down. I mean, Carson Getty, I mean, what a performance that was. He was someone on my list that really stood out to me because he was someone that had an okay rookie season, but had flashes of being really, really good this past weekend at Open number 3, and almost flashes of being elite, which is so hard to do, is to go from that next level of just being good or great to elite. I mean, that's just a big step to have. But ultimately, right now, Anthony is looking smart on this carpet bag domination so far. He's got to be loving the trajectory of the season with all these carpet bags winning. I mean, Noah Wooten, Noah Almanza-ish, I would say technically a carpet bag. But and then even in singles, you had Alec Ryan. So I don't know. It's gonna be quite interesting to see the rest of the year and how it moves forward. The one thing that worries me again about Tony Smith and Alec Ryan, who are in the top 4, is again they chose to play in the Open this weekend with with pro bags, but not 23 pro bags,
Yes.
which they're allowed to do, which they are allowed to do. I'm not saying they're not allowed to do it. What I'm saying is, how much are they putting off breaking in 2023 bags before the pro season, right?
I said the same thing. Like, when
So
are they going to start breaking those bags in?
So somebody is, is it one of those? What I'm hoping is happening is they're practicing on a regular basis with both sets, and they're breaking in that 23 set, but it's not game ready yet, right? Tony Smith needs to put in 1,000 rounds into those bags before he gets to the point where he feels like he's comfortable with those 23 bags. Until he gets to that point, he's going to continue to use his 2022 bag. So that's just something I just want to keep an eye on here, because when I saw those kill shots by Alec Ryan and those combats by Tony Smith, those are the exact same bags they threw last year. And it just worries me as we go into this next season, if they're not prepared for it. I just don't want to see them at the first national break out a brand new set of bags. Because if those two in particular break out a brand new set of bags, I think they're in trouble, to be honest with you. I think they're in big trouble.
Trey, I love that you brought it up. That's actually going to be a point I'm going to make later in the show when we get into overreaction, the overreaction segment. But I'm going to just jump into doubles real quick. So last week I said Gavin Cano, Joe Saladiner, Morellis, Gustafson on my watch list. They didn't perform like I think they can, especially in a lighter field. Saladiner outscored in the tournament period, negative DPR. Morellis and Gustafson, they both threw positive DPRs, and it was weird. They had two losses where one player played well and the other one floored, and then they flip-flopped, and the other one did the opposite. Those were their two losses. But looking good as expected. Richard Lopez, Wooten Hicks, Wiedenfield Ryan, those were all on our watch lists. Richards and Lopez playing more of a traffic style bag game this season with these new lucky bags. I'm loving it. A lot more blocks, replaces, cleaning up with pushes at the end, but still, and the key to this, still maintaining the high DPRs. That's fine if you want to drop your PPR a little bit to play a different style game, but they're still getting that same DPR, and it's leading to big wins like we're seeing. Noah Wooten cooking. Open number 1, right? He makes his singles bracket final. Open number 2, he's in his bracket final in both singles and doubles, wins his bracket in singles, comes out this weekend with a blind draw championship, a doubles championship, and he threw fire in singles. Mish, you give him any partner, he's going to win.
Any
give him
bag.
a different bag, he's going to win. I'm overly impressed with Wooten. I mean, Trey, tell me this. Is there anyone out there right now outperforming Noah Wooten in the game period?
He's shown more consistency over the past three opens than anybody. Not everybody has played all 3 opens, but from what I've seen, I don't think anybody could say they've been more consistent. Richards has been close, but not to the extent that Wooten has. So, and again, I think not all of the reason that Noah Wooten is being so successful right now is because more than anybody, he is used to changing bags nonstop.
Yeah.
You have this handful of players, right? Mark Richards, Philip Lopez, Jay Rubin, Jordan Power, that we'll talk about a little bit later. All of them switch bags. All of them are getting used to a bag because they threw the same bag all year last season. I don't think Noah Wooten threw the same bag last season 2 tournaments in a row. Right.
Right.
So Wooten is really showing his ability to adapt to all different kinds of conditions, and I think that's what makes him such a strong player this season.
Hey, the other name that I brought up last week, Donald freaking Cup. What's going on?
The Donald.
I mean, he loses that first game, and then he played like eight games or something to come back in that senior bracket. I mean, I was rooting for him just because that's a comeback right there.
I do have to make one comment, right, that I had to say. We sat here last week on Around the ACL, and 2 of us made very accurate, very accurate hot takes. Okay?
Just 2 of us, though.
And one of us way off.
So for those that don't have as strong of a memory, Michelle predicted that Eric Davis and Jacob Drzezinski would win their bracket. And technically, they did win the Tier 2 championship.
Stop
they
playing.
did win the bracket. I said that Ryan Wiedenfeld and Alec Ryan would be in the finals together at the Open. Obviously referring to singles, because why would I say anything else? It's
That's
not like
obviously
they
what
played
you
together.
meant.
That's obviously what I meant. So, we were on a heater. We were on a heater there, Michelle. And Anthony
And also on the draft on ACL Live, I mentioned how could you and Bernie not talk about the Noahs? They did take the win. Noah Almanza did take that win. The seniors winner was Tom Walter. It was Battle of the Toms there for a moment. And so I like all the name play, right? The Noahs, the Toms. You got
the Hunt brothers.
Yeah, exactly. But really, really good stuff. All right. So you talked a little bit about doubles there, Anthony. Trey, anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, I was just, I think Windsor and Hicks are going to be a really tough team this season. Slightly worried about what I've seen so far from Alex Hicks. We saw him at times last season be unbeatable, and he's just been good this year. He's been good to really good, kind of floating on that line, but we haven't seen him be unbeatable yet. That's the only thing that worries me. But as a doubles team, Windsor and Hicks are playing at a really high level, so that encourages me on the double side. Richards and Lopez, I like what you said, Anthony. They're playing a little different style. Keep doing that. Just don't lean into it too much.
Yes,
right?
Agree completely. Yeah.
Like do that, learn those shots, use them in the arsenal. But if I start seeing Mark Richards throwing a block every round, I will look at me, America. I will pick against Mark Richards.
Yes.
Against every tournament. If Mark Richards comes out with the mentality that I'm going to block every round, he will not win another event this year. I promise.
Yes.
I promise. It's not what he is. It's not his bread and butter. Now, should he use it? Yes. Should he be aiming for a bag that drips in the hole? And if sometimes it blocks, great.
Yes.
That's fine.
That's the key.
Totally fine, right? I just want him. I just want to keep that frame of reference in there. So, no, but overall, I thought impressive performances by that group. Ryan Wiedenfeld, I think, is gonna. The Southeast really thinks it's going to be Fisher Hamilton, but I think the betting favorite for Rookie of the Year would probably have to be Ryan Wiedenfeld based on what I've seen so far this year.
I was a little worried on doubles, I feel like, with Wiedenfeld. Just a little bit worried, but I thought singles is really when I saw what everyone's talking about.
Yeah. No, he's going to be tough.
Yeah, speaking of singles, Misha, I see we're over. Let me just talk a little bit about singles. I thought bracket C was a little bit weird. That bracket missed every single elite level player.
It was bizarre.
The casual fan might not even recognize anyone in that bracket. Winning it, Blake Karnick. The only reason I know that name is in the pro qualifications at the Gauntlet at Worlds, just kind of scanning through it. It looked familiar, so I went back and looked. So this guy took, I think it was dead last or second to last in his advanced bracket at Worlds. Then he gets into the Gauntlet, completely turns it around. He was one of the few that went 4-0 in round 1, 4-0 in round 2 to get his pro qualification card. So one of the few that went 8-0. So I thought that was interesting.
He beat, I'll never forget. So Rosie Streaker had to play in the qualifier. And in the first round, she goes 3-1. She ends up going 4-0 in the next round of the qualifier. But I was like 3-1. I was like, who beat you? And she goes, I have no idea, but whatever his name is, he needs to be a pro next season. And it was Blake Karnick. So, funny enough, he had to play his pro partner for this coming season, Steve Schrader, in the finals.
That's going to be his partner?
Yeah.
Okay, got you. Oh, I didn't know. So they played each other. Okay, yeah, they played each other in the finals. That's awesome. Jordan Power. I mean, looking like the elite level Jordan Power. We think he can be in singles. Noted though, he's got this new bag with the Titan Thrasher. He said, I was talking to him this morning. He's feeling good, basically for the first time in a long time. He did say that the Thrasher, it's playing that block and replace game that he thinks he wants to play this season. And he feels like he could be back on top with this bag. So keeping a close eye on him. For me, Ryan Wiedenfeld quickly moving up the list for Rookie of the Year. I mean, understood that we're still 3 months from the pro season, a long way to go. And we haven't seen yet a guy like Fisher Hamilton, one of my early predictions for rookie of the year. He's just been more absent in the open registrations. But really, I don't care. From a target perspective, like who's the target right now for rookie of the year? Ryan Wiedenfield, hands down. We talked about Alec Ryan. In my opinion, he's transitioned to elite. If we look at that back half of the season, coming into the start of the season, I kind of had this thought. It was like every time he'd come up to a match, I'm like, man, can Alec Ryan beat this elite level pro? Now I find myself going, can this elite level pro beat Alec Ryan? And that's an interesting transition. To me, he's got what's required to be a consistent or considered an elite level pro. He's got wins over guys like Damon Dennis, Ryan Windsor, Jordan Kamba. And to be considered elite, you got to have those top 10 player wins. He's got wins over Tony Smith and Matt Guy. And here's the thing. He is dedicated to that slow style carpet bag or that carpet game. You talked about him throwing last year's bag, Trey, and I think that's going to be key. And in order to be elite at that style of player, you have to be a skilled shooter. You have to be able to shape shots if you're choosing that style of play, cuts, rolls. You got to be able to push. You also have to be able to run bags when the hole is open. You're not going to get away with just dirtying things up and missing on open holes. And he's doing that with the best of them. And the bonus, like you were saying, Mish, for me, is it makes for exciting matches. I'm absolutely loving it. I'm finding myself trolling Facebook looking for Alec Ryan matches because they're so fun. The dude was 51st last season. Certainly a breakout player candidate. I think he's a top 15 promise and maybe, just maybe, top 10 if he continues playing like this.
I agree.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
I agree. All right, let's go into Overreaction Monday. I'm going to read a statement and you let me know if you think that is an overreaction. The first one being Sam Finley is going to be a top 3 female player in the world after her win. Trey.
Yeah, and not an overreaction. She's been there before, right? So it's not as if she's doing something that is out of the norm. I thought last season was out of the norm. I didn't think she played very well last season, and this season I think she's argued how she started this season is arguably better than she's ever been. The question is continuing to ride that wave. I do not think it's an overreaction.
Anthony?
I'm aligned with this perfectly. Not aligned. Throwing the best bag she's ever thrown. She's putting up the statistical numbers that are both personal best and leading the women's pack. She's running bags with these carpet that's working out really nice. We talked about the Samurai early. That seems to be playing well with her. I talked to her today as well. She's like, hey, I'm winning with Vikings. I'm winning with Wizards. I'm finding I can go hole to hole a little bit better with the Samurais. She said it's giving her more confidence and it's leading to smarter decision-making. Not an overreaction. Definitely in the mix of the top 10.
Jay Rubin and Jordan Power should be worried after going 2-2 at open number 3.
I'm going to say a baby bit overreaction.
Baby bit.
But I will say, Jordan Power threw really well in singles. So at one point I was just going to say it could be a bag thing, but he threw really well in singles. Jay Rubin threw really well in rounders, but he didn't throw really well in doubles bracket play, right? So, but this is not unlike what we saw last season from Jay Rubin and Jordan Power, not to this level of scale, but we saw ups and downs, right? They hit an up at the World Championship, but they went down 20-2. They hit a down literally 30 minutes prior to them winning a World Championship, right? So I mean,
yeah.
True.
It's an up and down team. I'll say a little bit of an overreaction, but I'm keeping my eye on it.
Anthony?
Man, I'm in line with this one as well. You pretty much the same thoughts too. The Rounders was a big thing. They were one of the 3 teams to go 6-0. They were the number 1 seed coming out of Rounders. And noted to get that 6-0, we had a rematch of the World Championship. They went through Richards, Lopez, won that one 21-9. So we can't ignore that. But here's the thing. They're in this transition period, throwing new bags, new material, Power leading more towards that surefire like Thrasher. Jay's really liking the play on this carpet style Prowler. Together, they got to figure out what they're going to settle on in doubles. But power, I mean, he's feeling super confident right now, still leading, learning his new bags. I would say not an overreaction, or excuse me, an overreaction, slight overreaction.
Yeah. Okay. Alec Ryan is a top 20 player. Where do you know Anthony feels about this?
Yeah,
What about you, Trey?
obviously he's seeing not an overreaction, right? And so I'm looking through. I kind of went through the list. I will say not an overreaction as well. It's close to that top 20. I think he finishes in the teens. The thing that I have to remind myself is how streaky cornhole can be. And that's the only caution I throw here, is that if we remember this time 1 year ago, we were asking ourselves if Matt Guy would ever lose again, right? Yep. We were asking ourselves that. And then he continued that in February, won a national. We're like, this dude's going to win 3 out of 4 nationals, right? So that's the only caution I heed.
And Creek Killer, I remember when Creek Killer came out with a win, that we were like, oh, this is top player. I mean,
right. Yeah. It's crazy.
That definitely did. All right, Anthony?
Yep. You know where I stand. You know where I
perfect.
stand.
Carson Getty will be on the Breakout Player of the Year ballot. Do you know where Carson finished last season?
Let Anthony go, and I'll tell you. Anthony, go first.
Anthony, do you think that's an overreaction?
Yeah, he finished 146th. And coming into last season, I thought he would be a top 75 player, so I was already giving him credit to being a strong bagger. I do think he's much improved. Trey, how many players go on that ballot, by the way? Is it 2 or 3?
Usually we can go anywhere from 3 to 5.
3 to 5. Okay. Ooh, if it goes to 5.
It just, let's say it's 3 though.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, certainly you got the Trzynskis out there. You're going to have a Ryan as well, who was like 50, 51. I'm going to say it's a little bit of an overreaction right now, just because I think that between those two guys, there's a couple other players who were also trending up. I'm going to go with a little bit of an overreaction.
Trey?
I'm going to go the opposite direction. I'm going to say not an overreaction. I talked about this previously when we briefly hit on pro partners last season. Getty has a pro partner that he is comfortable with this season. Now, you say to yourself, well, that's doubles. I'm just saying it's comfort. And comfort is something Getty lacked last season. He's playing confidently. If you beat Matt Guy throwing above an 11, you deserve some credit. I'll go out on a limb and say not an overreaction.
All right, last one. We should be worried about Tony Smith's string of singles semifinals and finals losses.
I'm gonna say a little bit of an overreaction. I'm watching it now. Right now, if I see another one or a second one, the thing that really makes me feel better is in that pro invitational, Tony Smith took grip of that pro invitational and he won it. Right? Kaylee Hunter was very good, but Tony Smith was exceptional. I think it would be different if Kaylee Hunter had carried that team to a pro invitational win, but I really felt like Tony Smith was able to close. And so I know we're talking about singles here, but so much of it is that nerves when you're getting so close to the end. I don't think I'm ready to say that there was something completely wrong there. I'll say it's a little bit of an overreaction.
Anthony?
Yeah, I'm not worried. Overreaction. Yeah, so here's the thing. I mean, he's constantly deep. He's consistent. But you said it earlier, Trey. What I'm nervous about is he's still throwing those red freaking contrabands. Like, as soon as possible, I'd like to see him get his 2023 bag in his hand, because I've thrown those red contrabands. To get them to break in and play the same way he wants them now, I don't even see that possible. Whatever recipe he used, being able to duplicate it, I don't see it happening. The guy is throwing a square bag in a 6-inch slot, throwing coin slots. This dude is still impressive. Yeah, not worried about him at all.
That shot, that was insane. That was insane.
Crazy.
Freaking Tony Smith. No doubt. All right, moving on. We've got some pro trends we want to talk about as we sort of gather our pro data. Anthony and I both wanted to put together some graphics for this. So we've got, what bags people are throwing. You can see the chart here if you're watching. If you're listening, just know that Ultra's leading by a lot. With like 50-something players throwing Ultra. BG right behind, and then it sort of trickles down. And I don't know about you guys, but when I was looking at this and I was reading over it, I mean, there was some some bags I didn't even know. Like I saw the cups are throwing Noble. I had never even heard of this brand before.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of things stuck out to me when it comes to bag choice. Doesn't surprise me, Ultra and BG were the biggest. Cornhole Scenario having such a high amount of pros did somewhat surprise me. Titan reaffirms the fact that they want to be a big player in the game. All Cornhole being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th on the list was a shock to me. The only other big surprise to me is I have a little bit of an insight here because I'm kind of behind the curtain, if you will. But Buffalo is one of the largest manufacturers now across the country. All right.
Oh.
And as far as their pro representation go, they're what, like 10th, 15th on the list? So
yeah.
It would not surprise me. Maybe it's not this season now because we've already gotten to that point. It would not surprise me to see Buffalo next season take that Titan jump to try to really target some of these top pros.
Right.
Yeah, I just have one comment. I want to be real careful about the word choice. These aren't necessarily choices. Choices in that they chose the sponsorship. But if we did an entire graph of what bag you would choose, let's take sponsorships and money out of the question. It could, and it probably would look a lot different. But what we are showing are declared bags, right? What the players are saying that they are declaring as their bag for this season, whether it was choice or a sponsorship drove them to throw that bags. And we know there's different strategies, different models in marketing. Ultra obviously going with that shotgun method where they're going to sponsor a lot of players, not necessarily go spend a bunch of money to get the top 4, but I'm going to grab a bunch of players in that middle range so that they have a lot of visibility and spread a lot of bags out. So I just want to make that point.
Absolutely. The next thing we looked at was the ages of our pros. So you can see on the chart here that it is mainly 20-year-olds, people in their 20s. I don't think that's surprising, but closely followed by 30s. And obviously, we have a certain amount of under 18 that we can allow. So that's going to skew that data a little bit. But in terms of our pro field, you're going to see the lowest is the 60s. They're holding it down in the 6% on this chart. But yeah, what are you guys' thoughts on this?
Yeah, as expected, you want to go, Trey?
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, as expected, the percentage going down as the age goes up. What actually surprised me was the 40s and the 50s. At 40, what's going on? You've got teenage kids, maybe kids coming out of middle school. You're at the height of your careers. 50, upper 50s, you might to see some more retirement. I actually expected to see more 50s than 40s, but certainly a trend down as the age went up. And we could see this completely change as more pros become professional pros as their main job.
Right.
Just a note, and I shot that one to you, Trey. Right now, 18%, almost 1 in 5 players declare cornhole as their job, their main source of income. When that grows to something like maybe 60 to 90%, I think we'll see the percentage of this change here in the ages.
Only comment I'll make is, how cool is it when you have a sport where 19%, almost 20% of your field is made up of people, professional athletes above the age of 50 years old.
That's so cool. That's a really good point. Yeah, you don't see that very often. Lastly, we have our pros divided by conference. When I created this, I did not expect the West to be so large. I always talk about how behind we are. So it was sort of startling to see us right there with some of the bigger regions. Obviously not as big as the Southeast there.
I think what it speaks to, Michelle, is when you look at memberships, California, I know it's the largest state or one of the largest states, right? But it has the largest number of memberships out of any state in the country. I don't think there's anything that California and the West lack, or they don't lack depth. There is an exceedingly amount of depth, and you see that here from that 9% coming from the West Conference. They're missing their Mark Richards, their Jamie Graham, their Eddie Grindersleeve, right? You can go to every other conference, Tony Smith and Jacob Drzezinski up north, Alex Rawls and Cheyenne Renner in the Southeast. Every other conference has that top 5, top 10 player that's kind of that's where you stake your ground in, and that what gives the conference that area, that level of proficiency and an elite feel. And I think that's the next thing that the West is really hoping for.
Couldn't agree more. All right. Are we ready to bring our guest on?
I think we are.
Who we
I think
got?
we're ready.
Waiting.
Who we
He's
got?
waiting, and he's ready to come on.
Good Lord.
He's
Good
not
Lord.
attractive. He's better days.
He's a zombie, literally.
Travel
and
days got me
figuratively.
like,
Yeah, that's exactly how I expect you to show up, Wally.
Yeah.
Actually,
How you guys doing?
We're doing great, Wally.
good,
And
Wally.
just so everybody's aware, Wally literally landed like an hour ago.
Nah, 20 minutes ago.
20 minutes ago.
Yeah,
And-
my ear
and-
still hasn't popped yet. It's kind of bothering me. But we'll make do. We'll make do.
So he filled in. I was hoping to get him on in like 2 weeks, but when Bernie, we're gonna have to get Bernie next week, but Bernie couldn't be on, so he was able to pull an audible. So thank you, Wally.
Yeah, no
So
problem. How you guys doing?
good. It's Halloween.
Yeah.
Feeling spooky. Feeling spooky.
we were. I mean, we were. For those of you who aren't watching the video, I did not call Wally ugly. He was wearing an ugly mask.
For the record, Michelle straight up said Wally is ugly. Just put that,
Ain't lying.
Go on the record.
just put that on the show notes. So yeah, Wally, we brought you on. I'm curious. You've now gone through 3 opens, and you're going to be the streamer for the year, right? So I guess you've been to 2 opens. Sorry, you weren't at the first one, but
All right.
you've seen all the coverage, right? I mean, we come on all the time and talk about people that we think are doing well, that we don't think are doing well. But when you look at these first few events, have there been anybody that stands out to you as someone that's like, I can't miss, this person's going to be great this season?
I mean, I kind of saw a little bit of the Alec Ryan train coming in Kentucky. He had just a different swag about him, pulling off that bar soap. I think it was against Jamie Graham. He's not afraid to take the riskier shots now. He knows he can manufacture points to make up the rounds if he misses a attempt at it. And we actually got to see a lot of that in the finals here in East Moline with Alec Ryan and Ryan Wiedenfeld. They were both trying the bar soaps and the crazy shots like that to manufacture possibly 3, maybe 5 points. But they were both able to get right back into it the next round and kind of, chip their way back into this game. And I think that's the crazy thing this season is that we're not practicing sliding bags in the hole anymore. We're not practicing airmails. We're not practicing roll. We're practicing penguins. We're practicing bar soaps. I don't know if Tony practiced that coin slot. He just calls it another airmail. But I'm telling you, like the shots are going to be crazy this year. So I'm looking forward to seeing these, 75 to 100 players break into the top 50 to, possibly 25 or even go into the top 15.
Yeah, I agree. We were talking about the skilled. I was talking about the skilled shots earlier, and that we're seeing it with Matt Guy over the past, I don't know, maybe 10 events at this point. That, hey, I can come out and I'm going to outhole everybody, but I'm not going to necessarily win. So I love your point there, and I agree with it completely. That it's going to take more than having 2 shots to win in this sport.
Yeah, and I think something that surprised me, and it's something that I wanted to. I actually was going through my phone today, and I had notes from the last time you guys had me on. I wanted to talk about something that I wanted to see throughout the season. Last year it didn't happen, but this year it is happening, and that's Matt Guy's blocking. Matt Guy is actually starting to play a full game. He's not just going for that automatic airmail all the time. He's kind of back and forth with it, but he's actually. I think he's going to play a smarter game this year, and I think it's going to serve him well.
That style of game is so hard. Matt Guy has got to hit about 90% of his airmail to win tournaments.
Yeah.
So he has to change something. If there were coaches in this game, if I was a coach or a manager or something, I would be on him going, here's what we have to work on, because you can see it clear as day. Now, if he's hitting 90% airmail, he's going to win the tournament. But it's so hard to get there. It's so hard to get there. He's one of the 2 players in the league that could do it, but you could see it's not getting him the wins.
Right.
Well, and he's so close, right? Like he's so close to hitting. So yes, sometimes he does hit 90%, and even if he doesn't, it's not like he's light years away from doing it. I would imagine his mind, he's like, well, I can do it, and I have done it, and it's not a stretch to do it. So
right.
Yeah, so far 3 opens in, I think the best player right now is Noah Wooten. Noah Wooten is back.
Yeah.
What do you think is? I have my own opinions, but what do you think is different for Noah Wooten right now? I mean, you've seen him play a lot of events. I mean, what is different?
I think that's the answer right there. He's playing a lot of events. The beginning of last season, he wasn't at all these tournaments, and then near the end of the season, he started playing almost every single Open, the Nationals, traveling to cash tournaments. He was playing a lot at the end of the season. I think whenever we went out on the West Coast, I don't think they were home for like 60 days. They stayed out there at Shamar's house and pretty much anywhere else on the West Coast, Arizona. They were just throwing and throwing and throwing. I think that's what we're seeing at the beginning of this season. I don't
Dude.
know if he practices much, but this competitive play that he keeps putting himself into, he's the top of the food chain right now, for my opinion.
The dude is hustling, and it actually matches his career choice. We took bios of all the players. You know what his career is? Hustler.
Oh,
It says hustler. It says hustler.
He would. Oh man,
that is so. It's such a no answer.
Such a no.
Yeah, and then I really haven't had a chance to see Cheyenne much this year. I know she won the first Open, but I think the women's division is open. I think it's wide open this year. I'm putting Sam Finley at the top of that food chain, and then we're starting to get some females that we haven't seen before go deep in the brackets and upset some big names. So I think the female division went from probably 12 to 15 players to probably 20 to 50.
Yeah, what did Sam wasn't Sam throwing over a 10 when she lost that game and got shut out? I mean,
I want to say it was like a high 10, almost 11 against Neisted. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, but Neisted threw, I think, 11.75 or something.
He missed 3 bags. Yeah, he missed 3 bags.
He's going to be deadly with these ultra bags. I'm curious to see. I mean, he's almost got that cut. He's working on that cut shot. It's cost him a few points in the games, but I'm telling you, he's going to be deadly by the time the season heats up.
Well, I mean, that goes to show you, though, he's willing to try it now, knowing that he may sacrifice some points right now, hoping that it will get him some points when the big money tournaments, these big nationals start rolling around, even these shootouts. So I love that. So I mean, I think it's going to be he's going to be tough, and nobody's going to be happier than Anthony.
Hey, I thought this was it. I thought this was it. The statistical anomaly. I was like, he's gonna win his bracket finally. This is it. And then that final was amazing. That double dip. It had to have been 60 rounds to get through that double dip. It was one of the best double dip I've seen in a long time. It was just back and forth.
Yeah, I thought he had it. How about your boy picking 4 players and getting all of them to the finals?
Yeah,
I mean, my picks are back. We're not talking about that, Michelle. No, we didn't talk about that, Michelle.
I don't know why we're bringing this up.
We're focused on the positivity. Positivity.
All right. So I have to say one thing though, Wally, before we let you go though.
He can stay on for the game if he wants, right?
Oh yeah, no, he can stay on for our game too. We'll play our game.
Okay.
But I'll say this, Anthony, Wally is beginning to experience the commentator skill decline. Where as soon as you continue to do commentary and keep focusing on that, your skill level as a player just continues. It just continues to dive and dive.
It's the
struggle is real.
It's because this is how I feel. Like the body is wearing down. The airplanes, the Ubers. Yeah, there's not enough.
I will tell you that I used to actually practice cornhole until I started doing all this. That is no longer a thing. There's no more practicing.
I was feeling really, really confident going into the regional last weekend, and then 1 and 2 in the comp division. Yeah, no, not so much.
All right, Wally. Trey's got a game, so stay on with us.
All right, I'll see what I can do.
All right, so this game, Wally, if you're not familiar, called Name That Player. I give some detailed information, and you have to guess the player. So I'll give hints as we go. Yep, go ahead, Anthony. You got a question?
I'm gonna throw you a curveball, Trey. I'm gonna throw you a curveball.
You're gonna do it. You're gonna reverse it.
Let me get the first one. Let's reverse it. Let's get you in the game. Just one.
All right, go for it.
All right, so Anthony's got one. Okay, go ahead, Anthony.
Yeah, we're gonna mix this up. I'm gonna do it a little different cadence. So I'm gonna kind of rapid fire you. There's 10 of them. Trey, I think you could get it around 4 or 5. I think it's going to start to give itself away around 7. Definitely at 9 and 10, it's going to be a giveaway. It's going to be three seconds in between each one. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay, go.
This player is a state champion and favorite beverage is bourbon.
Okay.
This player owns their own business. This player is tied with 16 other baggers at 2 championship titles.
Okay, man.
Here's where you're going to get some stuff. This player is a multi-world champion. This player has 4 siblings and known to have family in attendance to support.
Cop.
This player in attendance is known to be a sister and a mother, with the mother known for their play on the board as well.
Tyler
Cobb. Okay, Sam Finley.
Boom. That's 6. I called it. The next one was going to be this player is a female out of the strong state of Florida. This player is a lefty. This player is sponsored by BG. And number 10, this player won women's singles this past weekend.
Pretty good, Anthony. I like it.
All right.
I like it. Although I would have liked
I'm gonna
more
do terrible
time
again.
in between. The rapid fire.
Well, we're
got
running
me.
out of time, so
It
that's
like
fine
gets
with
you.
me.
It gets you all anxious.
That's true. All right, this player has 4 total titles.
Okay.
Okay, 3 of them have come in doubles. 1 has come in singles. Okay, the 1 singles title was a national singles win.
Ooh, national singles. Matthew Creek Killer.
Are we? What clue are we on right now? 3.
I haven't done mine in rounds before. Anthony did
Okay.
his in rounds. I haven't done mine. I've just kind of said it and then let people think.
It starts to get obvious.
I'm gonna wait for one more for I guess.
All right. I don't
All
think
right.
Derek King's won a singles. He's mostly doubles. Keep going. Sorry.
2 of this player's 4 titles were in doubles nationals in the same season.
Isidro Herrera.
Nope.
4 is pretty low. 4 titles is going to be low. And there's a bunch. I think there's like probably
Mhm.
12 or 15 players in that range.
Where's
Okay.
AJ Sims at? How many does he have?
I'm not sure, but it's not AJ
Hmm.
Sims. This player plays in the Southeast Conference.
Southeast.
Southeast.
Terrible with geography.
What states are those again?
That would be Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, and Florida.
Okay.
Okay.
Cobb.
Nope. This player,
Foreman.
it is not recognized as a title, right? An official title, but this player's first win in the ACL was a national juniors win.
Soprano.
Nope.
Juniors win.
Is it Tony Smith?
Nope.
I don't even
Caleb
know where Tony's
Batson?
from.
Nope.
No, Tony told me. Okay.
Not Texas. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's Texas.
You want one? All right. This one's probably going to
It's
give
really
it
hard
away.
to hold all the clues in your head at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we need a little graphic that like keeps lining
Yeah,
them up so we can see.
exactly.
So, in the year in which they won the 2 doubles nationals was the year of the pandemic.
2 doubles
That
nationals.
was like right when I started getting into it.
But they have to be young. Tanner Halbert has to have more than 4.
Tanner's 26.
He wasn't juniors.
Happy birthday, Tanner, by the way. It's his birthday today.
Happy birthday. Dang, I don't know.
See, I know stuff like that. That's true.
Yeah. This player's partner, when they won those nationals, is playing with Jimmy Humans this year.
I don't think I even know who Jimmy Human's partner is.
Kyle
this year.
Malone leads to
Dalton McClem.
Dalton McClem.
There it is. Good Lord.
That was a
Wasn't
tough
our
one. I got you on that one, guys.
Fort
That was good.
Lauderdale and St. Louis, right?
Yeah, that's
Fort
right.
Lauderdale in Pennsylvania. But yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't our finest
And then
moment.
he won his first ever title was when he'd won advanced singles before we had pro singles in Fort Lauderdale the year before that, Wally.
I win.
Yeah, and
get
then he's a
win.
junior. And then he's
I
a
You
get-
win
I
glory.
get a nap.
All
Do I
right,
get
we
a
need your
nap?
hot take. We need your hot take real quick.
Yeah, you got a hot take?
I need a hot take.
Oh, for me? All right.
Yeah.
Am I last? Can I go last?
Sure.
I wasn't planning on this.
All right, I'll go real quick then. All right, I still think Cheyenne Renner finishes number 1 in women's singles at the end of the year, but I think Sam Finley is number 2.
Okay. That kind of takes my hot take. I was going to say Samantha Finley to win a women's event, national event.
Mine is Donald Cup is gonna win a seniors. He's got to. He's due.
All right,
You've
Wally.
been on Cup for a while.
I don't know how
I
far.
know,
I don't know how
because
far
I
you
feel
want
like
me to go, but I'm gonna say
quietly
Deborah Odom and Megan Maupin win a shootout.
Really?
Okay.
I like it.
Oh, that was like out of left field right there.
I
I don't know how far you
Yeah.
want to go. I'm
All
I'm
right.
still
This has
green to
been
the season.
awesome. Thanks everyone for joining us, and we'll see you all next time.
See you guys. Thanks.